Lightweight road bikes are back. Okay, they never really went away, but we lived through an era of aero is everything. And it seems some bike brands and companies have forgotten how important a lightweight bike is for the way it makes you feel on the climbs and roads and something about a lightweight bike. And there have been exceptions, of course, to the aero is everything trend. The fabled Specialized Athos, for example, a super lightweight sub 6 kilo bike. And more recently, the Factor O2 Vam, the Orbea Orca, and the Scott Addict RC, and now the brand new BMC Teammachine SLR, which has been redesigned with a focus on making it lighter. And they've managed to save a whopping 222 grams from the frame, which wasn't heavy in the first place, but is now a truly lightweight contender. So the frame drops from 865 grams to 700 grams for a size 54, which puts it in super lightweight territory, similar to a Specialized S-Works Tarmac and other lightweight examples, and not much heavier than a classic Super 6 Evo from 10 or 15 years ago. So progress of sorts. We're back to where bikes used to be 10 or 15 years ago, but with the advances in tube profiles, aerodynamics, and disc brakes and integration and all the other stuff we take for granted today. BMC is claiming a 6.6 kilo weight is possible with a top end build, which is very impressive indeed, and below the UCI weight limit of 6.8 kilos. So for the pros riding the bike, and it's been designed for the pros of course, we'll have to add some weight. But by the time you add pedals and computers and a GPS transponder, the weight will be over 6.8 kilos. And probably potential for us non-UCI restricted riders to make the bike even lighter as well. And what's impressive is despite the improvement in weight, they haven't sacrificed stiffness, and they claim frame stiffness is the same as the old bike and the same as the Teammachine R, the aero race bike from the BMC stable. So yeah, very impressive. They've achieved the same stiffness rating, so it should respond and handle in the same way, sprinting and gassing out of corners and attacking breakaways, but the lighter weight the frame now offers. But these days, it's not enough for a bike to be just lightweight. Aero still matters. The Specialized Athos is a rare example of a bike just focused on low weight with no concession to aerodynamics. We've seen how popular that is for non-racing people. But the BMC Teammachine SLR is designed for the pros, and they have the Teammachine R, the aero race bike developed with the Red Bull team, which I rode last year, and still the fastest bike around the Just Ride Bike test track. And the Teammachine SLR still has a touch of aero about it. So yeah, the new bike is still aero despite that focus on low weight. But what I find crazy and pretty amazing is they claim that the Teammachine SLR, the lightweight bike, is only 4% slower in aerodynamic terms than the Teammachine R, the full-on aero race bike. In their testing, they haven't revealed all the details of the testing, white paper and that sort of stuff, so take aero claims with a pinch of salt. But to have a bike that's that lightweight and within touching distance of a full-on aero bike is pretty appealing, because while lots of us like low-weight bikes, the way they feel, and lots of us are weight weenies at heart, you can't escape the benefits of aerodynamics, even though you can't quite measure it as easily as on the scales with weight. When you're out on the road with a power meter, you can see the benefits of aerodynamics. So yeah, having the best of both worlds is pretty good. Another useful update to the bike is tire clearance has gone up from 30 on the old bike to 32 on the new bike, which is in line with the Tarmac and the Giant TCR and other race bike. But I think they could have gone wider. And yes, they've developed the bike for the pros, and 32 is probably wide enough. But I think they could have gone wider to 34 or 35 and given us non-pros a bike that offers the advantage, the future-proofing of going to a wider tyre. We've seen how important tyre width is and how popular wide tyres are. 32, 34, 35. So to have a race bike that would also take up to a 35mm wide tyre, I think would have been a really smart move. I know the bike is designed for the pros and designed for racing, but they have to sell the bike to us regular people, and us regular people are enjoying the benefits, for the most part, of wide tyres. So I think they could have played a blinder and gone even wider and really shown how we can have a bike that's aero, lightweight, and has space for wide tyres. And the Pro can stick to a 28 or 30, and we can enjoy a 34 or 35 for smoothing out the crappy roads we have to ride on with no, hopefully, penalty to geometry and the weight of the bike. And I say that as somebody who's just been riding the Basso SV, review coming on Sunday. That's a race bike but with more relaxed geometry, but has space for 35mm wide tyres, and the frame is still lightweight. So they've managed to do a lightweight carbon aero bike that still has space for wide tyres. And in my riding, there's no compromise in its handling, agility and responsiveness, despite having space for wide tyres, even though it's spec'd with a 30mm tyre as it's sold. So yeah, I think BMC could have made a slightly bolder prediction on tyre trends, if you ask me. So if you are weight weaning, this is definitely an appealing option, but there are quite a few interesting lightweight bikes definitely worth considering. The most appealing for me is perhaps a brand new Scott Addict RC. Haven't tried it yet, but I have requested one, and that's super lightweight. And you're looking at a weight for the crazy high-end, expensive, no money spared build of 5.8 kilograms. So as light as the Specialized Athos, and lighter than a Tarmac and lighter than the BMC Teammachine, but it still has all the aero nods you expect of a sort of all-rounder. Not as aero perhaps as a Tarmac or a Trek Madone, but has the full integration, that carbon cockpit and aero profiles. So a bike that does look really appealing on paper, and one that definitely shows that you can have a lightweight bike that's still aero and have your cake and eat it. And definitely a bike on my shortlist for riding, hopefully very soon. Another super lightweight bike is a Factor 02 van. I reviewed that last year, linked that review down below. That is 6.5 kilos, so super lightweight, really skinny rear stays. A few downsides, mainly the integrated seat mast, and the comfort was a bit jarring in terms of very stiff at the front, very soft at the back, felt a bit disjointed, but a super lightweight bike nonetheless, and a bike with some aero cues from the handlebar and the front end tube profiling. And another bike that's definitely super lightweight is a Giant TCR Advanced SL, the range topping version, which is 6.4 kilos in top end trim with Giant's own carbon fiber wheels, with a seat mast, not as aero perhaps as the BMC potentially, but I'm doing the aero testing. Hopefully Tour Magazine will do a test of these latest lightweight stroke slightly aero bikes in the near future, but TCR is definitely a contender for a lightweight bike. How aero these lightweight bikes are is something I want to see data on. Hopefully Tour Magazine do a wind tunnel test on these bikes, because if you can have a bike that's as lightweight as a Teammachine or the Scott Addict RC, but is almost as aero as a full-on aero bike, but maybe not as aero, that's potentially enough for us regular real-world riders. That low weight we can tangibly feel and benefit from, and know it's aero as well. And of course the Specialized S-Works Tarmac, which is 6.8, 6.9 kilos and very aero in independent testing from Tour Magazine, and yeah, super lightweight and still one of the benchmark bikes. But the Scott Addict RC and the new Teammachine SLR could be potential Tarmac beaters. And I talk about a Tarmac as a reference, a benchmark bike all the time, because it is. It's lightweight and it's aerodynamic, and Specialized, whether you like it or not, are very popular bikes. And a Tarmac around my part of the world is a very popular bike indeed. So definitely the bike that most other bikes are sort of vying for the crown of. If you like the look of the BMC Teammachine SLR, want to rush out and buy one, there are a choice of just 4 models, so quite a small range, with prices starting from €8,500 and going all the way up to €13,000. €13,000, people. What a heck of a big lump of cash that is. That top end bike comes with a SRAM red AXA group set, DT Swiss Arc 1100 die-cut wheels, Pirelli P0 race tyres, and a Physique Argo Vento R1 saddle for a claim weight of 6.6 kilos. And at the other end of the range, the cheapest, most affordable option is the SLR 014. Their naming convention is very weird. And that has a Shimano Ultegra DI2 group set, Pirelli P0 race tyres, the company's own CR40 SL carbon 40mm wheels, and weighs a claimed 7.1 kilos. So 7.1 kilos for the cheapest model in the SLR range is pretty good actually. So usually the entry-level version of a lightweight bike is hobbled by heavy wheels and a lot heavier than a top-end bike, but that's pretty good. 7.1 for a reasonably accessible bike. Still expensive, make no mistake, but there we go. So that's a brand new BMC Teammachine SLR, and a bit of a comment about weight versus aero, and let me know where you sit on the aero weight sort of sliding scale, or what's important when choosing and assessing a new bike, and how important weight is to you. And if you want to see a review of the BMC Teammachine R, the aero race bike, then watch the video right up here. But that is all today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again very soon.